Hello and welcome to this O&DR Modurol video, sun visor removal, flap repair and LED upgrade. This is video 187 in our series of XK8 videos, and this video is coming in about because we need to replace the headliner on our 1996 Jaguar XK8. In order to do that, we need to remove the sun visors. The sun visors are actually pass through the roof headliner and actually hold it on, so we need to get rid of those to get the headliner off. We're going to split this video down as per usual into several sections. We're going to have a quick look at trim colours, part numbers, locations, then we'll go into the details of the removal, the door clip repair, LED upgrade, and then because of LEDs we're going to tell you how to prevent the fuses blowing, which is very common with the upgrade, and checking the polarity of the LEDs. The tools you're going to need are a trim tool and a cross screwdriver for the removal. For the repair, you're going to need a flat screwdriver, a plastic screw plug is optional, and some glue. And to upgrade to LED, you're going to need 31mm festoon LED bulbs ×4, some electrical tape, and just for your information, the standard bulbs are LJ 5180BA. They're all 3 watts, which is pretty useless. The trim colour then, looking at the trim specs, there are actually only 2 colours of trim: oatmeal AGD and Nimbus Grey LFJ. So if you've got a grey one, it's Nimbus Grey. If you've got a cream one, it's oatmeal. Part numbers then, quick brief look at the part numbers. These are all the part numbers for the sun visors. The XXX is the different trim colour. The actual locations of the electrical connections in the roof, they actually share the same part number. There is actually a U-spring nut which we'll look at there, and the screws. I'm not going to read all the part numbers out, but there you go, part numbers for you. The locations then. So I like to show you the locations before we take anything off to try and prevent any damage. The sun visor itself has 2 location points, a pivot point which is fixed and a clip point which has electrical connections. It has the matching points in the roof. The pivot point has 2 spring clip U-nuts, and the other end has just a hole, a square hole. As I say, the pivot end has 2 retaining screws matching to those U-spring nuts in the roof. The U-spring nuts are part number JAK60856B. The other clip end can be unclipped. You don't need to do anything really other than unclip the sun visor itself. There are 2 electrical contacts for the vanity mirror lights, which is the LED upgrade we're talking about in a bit. There's a matching set of contacts on the retaining bracket of that. Just if you're interested, we're going to remove this as well to get the headliner off. It's actually located by 2 clips which are actually expanded by a screw coming through the front. Hence there's no actual nuts in the roof, it's just a hole. You don't need to remove that retainer, as we say, unless you're removing the headliner. Removal then. We're going to remove the left hand side sun visor in this case. The procedure is the same for the right hand side. You need to open the cover to access the screw. You can see the screw there. Both the screws, both sides are the same. Screw part number is AB608061J. You need to loosen that screw with your cross screwdriver, and that'll, as I say, release the grip on the clip on the rear. You can then use your trim tool just to flick it out, remove it. You can still see it here, you can see the clips clearly, and there'll be 2 wires still attached. You can't unattach it from this end of the assembly or the sub-assembly. You need to actually remove the roof console, which I've already covered in video 186. There should be a link in the top right hand corner here. Once that's removed, you can see 2 yellow sun visor plugs. Those are the plugs for each side of the vanity mirror lights on your sun visor. To disconnect them, you just need to dispress the tab on the plug and pull it out. Very, very easy. The wiring then can be pulled through the hole in the headliner, and you should have the clip or the retainer assembly, something like that, with a loom attached. The pivot end then is screws need to be revealed by using a trim tool to release the cover. you should see the screws once the you should see the screws here. The screws again are AB608061J. Just use your cross screwdriver to undo those, and basically the mirror is released at this point. Once it's free, you're good to repair and upgrade the bulbs. It's a lot easier doing it once it's off rather than in situ. Door clip repair then. The vanity mirror cover, sort of flap if you would, should hold itself open. If not, you can very easily fix it. The inner cover is retained by tabs each side. You can see them here. This is when it's been removed and upside down. 2 little tabs each side. That's all that's holding that cover on with the sort of bulb diffusers. You can see on the side when it's assembled there's a screwdriver slot at each end of the cover. Simply get your small flat screwdriver, insert it in the cover there and lever it in and out, and the tab should flick out as shown here, and the lid is basically free then to pull off. You should be able to see something like this behind the vanity mirror cover. There are small spring clips used to hold the door open. Here this side is loose. It should actually rub against that plastic moulding on the flap. You can see it's all brown where it's rubbed against it. This is how the clip should be when it's in place. This is actually with it wedging the door open. This is actually the spring clip taken out. You usually find them rattling around in the back there. I'm not sure of the part number, but it's this clip that's the problem. It's very, very simple. You can, if you're lucky, use a screwdriver. You might be able to locate it back in without taking any further out into position, but you're going to be very lucky, and you're probably not going to last very long if you do that. It's a lot easier actually just to remove the whole unit from the sun visor itself. To do that, take your trim tool again at the center of each end and just push it in and lever up. Once removed, you should see the retaining clips retaining it in the sun visor. As I say, it's best to pick the middle of those two. It's very difficult to remove them if you're actually at the clip. The mirror housing itself has clipping points, as you can see here. The plastic housing will be loose, but it will be still retained by 2 wires for the vanity lights. There are 2 locations for the spring clips each side, as I say. This is the end with the clip still in place and working. You can see it's flush to the location. The other side is completely missing in this case. Basically what you need to do is get your clip and apply some glue, ideally to the shorter end of the clip, and then push it back into the slot with that short end. If you push down then with a screwdriver, you should hear like a click once it's engaged in its proper position. That is probably worn, hence why it's best to use some glue. You reassemble the whole thing just by pushing it back in the sun visor each side. This is a bit of an addition I've made. I've had an additional retaining stop. I've basically cut down that small screw plug and then pushed it underneath where that spring clip is. So there is a bit of support underneath it to stop it coming out of that slot and avoid it becoming loose. You can actually put the cover back on without any problem with that in that place. LED upgrade then. So the standard festoon bulbs are very, very poor in this application. As I say, they're only 3 watts each. The standard part number, if you want to keep standard, is LJA 5180AB. You need to buy LED 31 festoon bulbs available on the internet, various sites. You're going to be looking about £2 each these days. That'll be £8 for 4 in 2023. Fitting the LED bulbs is very simple. Just exchange them, but you will blow the F16 5-amp fuse if it's not done correctly. This is in the driver's side fuse box, F16 5 amps, as is shown here. It's 3rd up from the right. And from my experience, if you don't know if you don't fully understand why it's blowing, you'll run out of fuses, as I did. Had to go out and buy some more till I figured out what was going on. Very infuriating. It's a very simple upgrade in theory, but you will blow fuses unless you follow the next steps. So preventing blown fuse. So let's explain why the actual LED is shorting and it's blowing the fuses. So if you see here, it's got a foil mirror backing, and I believe this is the issue. So on a festoon bulb, the foil mirror backing is kept away from each terminal end by the actual bulb glass itself. As you can see, and it's also got a hole in the electrical contacts in the housing that helps it locate and hover above the foil. When you fit an LED bulb, the circuit board is a lot smaller than the glass outer. You don't have a glass outer in most cases, and this allows the terminals to potentially touch the foil backing, and it basically shorts out. It's very easy for LEDs to short across the foil backing. You can actually rotate the bulb to avoid this. It does help. But the bulb will rotate over time and it will possibly cause another short. The best method is to isolate just one terminal of the bulb with some insulation tape. This, as is shown here, just wrap some insulation tape around one end. The bulb will not short out then. It's not going to run straight across the foil backing. One thing you will have with LED bulbs is problems with polarity. So you might put the whole thing back together and find they're not working, only one side's working. So as I say, LEDs only work in the one direction. So I just used an old battery I have on in the side of the garage just for this sort of thing, and I use that to test the bulbs in situ. For your information, the positive is actually the brown lead or the top rail, and negative is the black wire, the bottom rail in this case. So just attach the battery to those terminals. When I tested mine, one bulb lit, but not the other. So I basically just swapped it round, rotated the bulb, retested, both are okay, both lit, no problem. Once you've done that, you just push the cover back, engage one tab, and then push the housing in. As I say, I've upgraded the bulbs in the vanity lights, but I'm not sure I'll ever use them, to be honest. But it's one of the things. I've upgraded all the LEDs in the interior, and it's just the one thing that I couldn't do for blown fuses. So it was more of a just having everything LED, completing the set, if you would. This is part of our headliner video playlist, us changing our headliner. Please take a look at that for more interior videos. Hope you find that interesting. If you're having problems with your sun visor, you're looking to remove it, hopefully this will be helpful. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, share and subscribe for more XK8 videos.